On today's show, the trade deadline is here. Happy holidays to everyone who celebrates. Who will get moved today? Dejounte Murray, Kyle Kuzma. We've each got a couple teams that we're watching today, and we had some actual deals go down on today's Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are Locked On to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On NBA your first listen today. With the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review, like the video, and comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Predict a trade. Predict one. Player to a team, player for player. If you get any of it right, you get credit. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. All lowercase, LockedOnNBA is the promo code for a first deposit match up to $100. And joining me as always on a Thursday, host of Locked On Bulls. What are you setting the prices for right now, Pat the Designer?
Listen, I just I hope the rest of you enjoy your trade deadline because we're running it back. We're running it back, baby.
The Mavs, the team I cover, has made a deal in each of the last 7 trade deadlines and 9 of the last 11. And I come on all excited, like, all right, here we go. We're going to get a trade tomorrow. And Pat's like, I cover the Bulls.
I cover the Bulls. There's not going to be much movement there. Maybe an Andre Drummond trade.
The problem is they should. They should make moves.
Hey, what are you going to do? They're taking the Denver approach.
What are you going to do? Fire Gar Pax.
What are you going to do? We did that. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Pause. All right, we're gonna talk about trade rumors. We each gonna pick 2 teams that we're watching, and so we'll talk about those teams. Like, all right, I'm watching this team to see if they make a move, to see what they decide to do, because they got big decisions to make. And then, of course, we'll play Count It Up, where we count up the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. We got 3 actual trades that went down, and I'm gonna ask Pat on a scale of 0 to 5, how much does it move you? We'll do that and count it up. But let's start here. The latest rumors. This trade deadline, like all, will have a bunch of trades. It will happen. They will happen. We saw 3 random ones on Wednesday. There will be a bunch of trades. I think last year there was 25 trades. It was like an insane amount of trades.
Second round picks were moved last year. Just hundreds of them. Just
the second round pick, which I have dubbed the lube of the trade deadline. They just
what?
They just slide. It just lets you slide trades through.
Jesus Christ, man.
I've been saying
is this Locked On Bulls?
I've been saying that for months, and no one has called me on it yet. The person that would call me on it is me, actually. Now that I think about it. Harden has already been traded. Siakam has already been traded for Bruce Brown. Emmanuel Quickly and OG Anunoby have already been traded for each other. Kyle Lowry's been traded for Terry Rozier. We've had some movement already, but there will still be moves, and there will be moves that change the landscape of the NBA in a way. Dejounte Murray is probably the best player that's name has been out there.
Yep.
If you had to make a guess, or if you had to say, all right, this is where I think Dejounte Murray should go or will go, where would you go right now?
Well, I think that's the interest that I had heard. We had heard from Chris Haynes from TNT and Bleacher Report, of course, about Dejounte Murray possibly going to the Hawks going to the Pelicans is one that interests me the most, because I'm like, all right, this is actually a real change that I think could affect things on both sides, because you're going to have to send back some pretty good players both ways, right? Like, it's not like you're sending DeJounte Murray and it's like, yeah, send me back Jackson Hayes. No, you're sending back somebody.
They don't even have him.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're sending back somebody who's probably of some ilk, right, to both sides. And how is that going to affect both teams? One in the West, where now a 30-21 record after coming off a win tonight, which is the 7th seed in the West, which just shows how different the East and the West are. And the Hawks team that has just been rudderless with DeJounte Murray now for the last couple of years. And I said at the beginning it was going to be a struggle because they're both on-ball guys. Do they now go get somebody who can operate off-ball? And you see this Hawks team take off because most of the pieces you feel should be in place there, but it just seems like the 2 big pieces don't mesh at all.
Yeah, the duo doesn't seem to be working. We're hitting this point in the NBA where there's too many really good offensive players, and they've been the guy for so long in their career, like even leading up to the NBA. So DeJounte Murray, like, he wasn't necessarily the guy in San Antonio, but he seems to have grown into that guy. Trae Young has been the guy since he was, I don't know, shorter than he is now. Before that, Oklahoma, like everywhere. But there's not enough spots. Like we're just running out of spots. And then so you've got to be able to do other things, which makes the Aaron Gordon's, his like transition into being a, amazing role player. Like some of these guys that can play off the ball, obviously Steph Curry, but like, Klay Thompson's transition to being one of the greatest catch and shoot players ever. Like these guys have found ways to either move to a different spot. Yeah. And Dejounte Murray's kind of in that spot in his career. We're like, all right, are you good enough to be the guy, the ball's got to be in your hand guy? Is he good enough to be that? And if he gets traded to one of these teams like the Pelicans, we may find that out. Pelicans is a good one. I had that on my list. The one that I brought up weeks ago with you, when you and I talked about this before, was the Magic.
Yeah.
This is one where I can see coming out of nowhere, where it's like, all right, we've got all these random guards. We got Fultz, we got Cole Anthony, like Suggs. We're trying. Let's get a lead ball handler. We need some more offense. We know our defense can be good, and Dejounte can play good defense. He made an all defensive team in his career, so he can get that back maybe in the right system. But I think that's an interesting one. The Knicks too. They've got enough stuff. They could go get him. They need to replace quickly.
But again, I think the problem there remains, right? You're having the same issue again where Jalen Brunson needs the ball in his hand to operate. While he can operate off ball. We've seen that, Julius Randle as well. I don't think the Knicks is a good fit for him. I'm not going to lie. The Magic is a fit, but let's be real. I feel like the Magic's a fit because Dejounte Murray looks like a player that plays for the Magic. he just has that look. Like if you see him in the blue and white pinstripes, it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. He's got like a Penny Hardaway T-Mac kind of look where you just say, oh yeah, Magic guy.
And the start, like the Magic Stars jersey.
Doesn't it feel like that would fit him perfectly? Like I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Interesting. I think I can see where you're coming with that. Other names that could be moved at the deadline. Kyle Kuzma feels like the second biggest name that could be moved at the deadline, which is a weird one. The Mavs and Kings have been interested in him. And from what we've heard, all the rumors that we've heard from Mark Stein and Jake Fisher and everyone, is that the Wizards are kind of holding their cards to their vest a little bit. Same with Charlotte with like a PJ Washington or Miles Bridges. They're kind of holding their cards to the vest because some of these guys, not Miles Bridges, but these guys are signed for a couple more years and they don't have to make the move. What do you think about a Washington just holding on to a Kyle Kuzma instead of trying to get something for him right now?
Listen, I cover the Bulls, and to me, Washington feels rudderless. I mean, like as a team that seems rudderless at times, Washington just always seems rudderless. I don't know, why would you keep Kyle Kuzma when you can get value for him?
They're rudderless because they went down. Like they're in the sand. Like the rudder is in the sand. You just can't move the rudder. Like the rudder is there. We know where it is. They've hit the bottom. We're there. We're talking about Kyle Kuzma as like their big piece that they need to trade to get stuff.
Yeah, and it's I don't know what that team is. Like they should be in full. I'm not a fan of tanking, but they should be in full blow it up mode because they don't know how to utilize any of the pieces that they have. Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, like, come on, let's get it out of here. All of it out of here. And then we just pick the team up and you send it straight to Vegas for when LeBron retires.
Well, they already did this. They already did this when they traded Brad Beal. They traded Porzingis, and now the next piece is Kuzma because he was part of the what did the Locked On Wizards call it? The mid three or like the solid three? What do they call it? Like, it's not a big three. It's not the 3 stars. It's a mid three or a solid 3.
I get that.
This is their next one, but he may move too. DeRozan and Caruso I've seen on lists, but it sounds like your Bulls are just going to stand pat.
DeMar may be an interesting one. I think there's a chance DeMar gets moved, but I'll believe it the second I see it. And me and Hayes are sitting on a live talking about a DeMar DeRozan trade. I don't think Caruso's going.
Will you be excited or will you be sad when DeRozan gets traded?
A little of both. I like DeMar DeRozan as a Bull. I think that he's what he brings, but when you also have to come in logically with it. And when you're already not getting a contract worked out, you can't just say, yeah, we'll just go into the offseason and get something worked out. No, the terms aren't going to change. The team's not getting drastically better. Yes, you are playing better with Kobe White stepping up, but I don't see DeMar DeRozan being a part of that future. And honestly, I think at times he's gotten in the way of other guys taking that next step. To me, Caruso's not going anywhere. AK views him as a culture guy. As a guy who you've got a young piece that's coming up, you're going to need somebody who's going to come in and set the culture. I think that Alex Caruso's not going anywhere in this situation.
For the listeners on the podcast, deep eye roll from me as a culture guy for a culture guy for what? Like what?
The culture that they want to be set in place, and it is the Pat Bev effect that came in. We've seen a lot of that rub off on Kobe White. Alex Caruso's backed him with a lot of that stuff, and it seems like Kobe's becoming the leader that this Bulls team has hoped to finally have with all of the older veterans they've brought in. You want to have that guy to basically just kind of, I guess, guide Kobe into this next step. I'm not sitting here telling you it's the logical thing to do, but what I'm telling you is that this is how AK views it. And you look at a lot of the pieces we brought in this offseason, Torrey Craig, Javon Carter. They don't do anything crazy, but the one thing that they do is they'll go out there and they'll hustle. They'll fight for the next play. They'll give you hard defense. Like, those are the things that you're looking for, and that's what AC already brings. So that's the kind of tone they're trying to set. Again, I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just telling you what's happening.
Listen, don't compare us to any of the other national NBA shows out there. We just spent like 5 minutes on the Bulls. We talked about the Wizards for a while. We talked about the Hawks. We were in on the Pelicans and the Magic. Like, hey, if we're supposed to be talking about the Lakers all the time.
Is LeBron getting traded?
We're failing. Coming up, let's fail a little bit less. Let's talk about two teams we're both watching on trade deadline day to make some kind of a move. I'm watching these teams. I got two I'm interested in coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan is the place where you can get the new Nissan Rogue, Pathfinder, and Armada. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little bit further? You know when you got to bottom out, or you know when you're going to take it, push the pedal to the metal, and make a win now trade. They have, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. For example, the Nissan Rogue, perfect for city drives and escapes. It's got that 12.3-inch HD touchscreen. You know, it's got to have a big screen, especially when you're in a new car. It just feels good. It just feels like you're driving something that you'd watch in a movie when you were a kid. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Also, check out the 2024 Nissan Armada. It will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada to go to your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Again, NissanUSA.com. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA. Being part of the show, being an everyday, we appreciate each and every one of you. We have a daily Locked On show that covers your team. Check the link in the description to find a show that covers your team every day. We also have the Locked On Fantasy Basketball live stream during trade deadline day. So if you want something, I think 12 Eastern, Josh Lloyd, the GOAT, is going live. And so he'll go live for, I don't know, as long as you crazies want him to. As long as there's a bunch of people, he'll still be there talking trades in his amazing accent. All right, Pat. Two teams we're watching. Let's start with the first of yours.
Like I was talking earlier, the Hawks are the team that I'm watching the closest in this, because I think Dejounte Murray is the main piece that's going everywhere, right? But the last reports are there's not a great trade on the table for Dejounte Murray. So what's the plan? We're just running this through the rest of it. Everybody's doing the Bulls plan? AK was just the first to the party on run it back. Like, there's got to be a move in play. And how's that going to affect whichever conference he ends up going to? Because he's a really, really good basketball player. And I think there's some teams that maybe need that kind of point guard play.
Do you think this is because of the play-in? Because both of these teams are kind of like in the play-in race. And you're like, all right, we're still kind of like playing for something. Because if they were out of it in this weird like no man's land, maybe they would have made a decision on it. But because of this play-in, I feel like it's changed a lot of teams. And that's why these last couple of trade deadlines, we're not seeing as many sellers. We're seeing a bunch of buyers, like a bunch of teams trying to get better on the edges and here and there.
I've said this a couple of times. I honestly believe that it's because of Detroit. And hear me out on this. And this is not a shot at Koo. This is not to be funny.
Cover your ears, locked on.
It's not a shot at any of that. But you see how many times they've gotten the first round pick. You see how many times they've gotten the high draft capital. And yeah, they didn't win the Wemby sweepstakes, but they still got a really good player out of it. And you're just sitting there going, but what's it worth? The team means nothing. Nobody wants to come there. Nobody, like Brian Windhorst literally said, free agency is not an option. Free agency wasn't an option so much they were the only team looking to trade for Zach LaVine. And I think that it's when you trade away major pieces like that and you bottom out, You know the players you have there aren't going to resign. So the stars you have in Trae Young and guys like that aren't resigning. And then you're not going to be able to get people to come because you suck. And now you're down to the draft.
Okay, pushback. Wouldn't you have said the same thing about the Rockets last year? How long were we laughing at the Rockets and saying this team is so bad, they're so dysfunctional, they can't get anything going, they're a YMCA rec league team that plays in the NBA, no structure, nothing. Steven Silas, get him out of there. They signed Fred VanVleet. Şengün takes the next level. They signed Dylan Brooks because they have all the money, and then all of a sudden they take a step forward.
But why did people want to come there? They went and got a guy.
Not because of the beach. Galveston is really nice.
No, they went and got a guy who changed the culture in Houston. You knew Ime was coming in.
Well, and they thought Monty Williams was going to be that guy in Detroit.
Listen, I get that, but also you basically said, please, Monty, please, we'll pay you whatever you want. We're literally sending you a blank check. Like, he didn't want to do this. He was
guys,
like,
I'm not interested in this job.
Bro, please, let go of my leg. So I think that you had a willing partner down there, and it's crazy. You had a willing partner down there in Houston, and you knew what Ime could do if given that job. You knew there was a bunch of young talent. You just needed vets. That's more of a convincing spot to come to than if I'm going to Detroit, where it's like, yeah, Monty Williams is there, but literally nobody's panned out.
The Hawks have a bunch of long contracts too. They have Trae Young for the full max for the next 4 years. Counting this one, Clint Capella for the next 2 years, DeAndre Hunter for the next 4 years, Bogdan Bogdanović for the next 4 years with a team option at the end, Dejounte Murray for the next 5 years with a player option at the end, Onyeka Okongwu, his extension kicks in next year for the next 5 years basically. Yeah. You've got Kobe Buffkin and AJ Griffin on rookie deals. Like, you've got a lot of guys there for a while, and if it's not working now, like, what are they going to grow into? That's a team I'm definitely watching as well. For me, my team is, all right, I'm doing a little bit of the National NBA thing here.
Oh, here we go.
The Golden State Warriors. Tell me they're not going to do something, because they've got an insane amount of money tied up in all these guys, and they are going nowhere with this team. And there's no, like, we're waiting for Draymond to come back. We're waiting for Clay to get healthy. You're there. Like, he's like, Draymond's back. Clay's been removed from his injury. And we've seen the clips of Clay at his locker, frustrated with how his career is basically declining. And here we are with them. Yeah, Kuminga has taken a step forward. Great for him, but they didn't get the star leap that they expected from the Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga. Who was the guy that the wing that Patrick Baldwin that they drafted that everybody was really into, and then he was gone.
My guy coached Pat Baldwin too. He was so hype on him. He was like, Pat's gonna be great there. And I was like, oh no. Pat didn't get no minutes either though.
I think they'll do something because their tax bill is just insane. I don't think they can keep everybody. Klay Thompson is a unrestricted free agent this summer. The Wiggins one is the one I think that they'll move off of, because that one that's a lot.
Wiggins is interesting, but I think the tough part is, right, outside of that, what can you do? Right? Like, anything short of...
They're not getting better. They're just going to spend less money on a team that's not good.
But I think even that, right? Like, they become sellers. Who's trading for Klay Thompson? Who's trading for Draymond Green? Who's trading? Maybe Jonathan Kuminga is an interesting piece, right? That's probably the one. But I would think if you're actually trying to win in the future, that's the one you don't want to trade. Like, short of trading away Stephen Curry, who are you trading?
Yeah, I'm watching Klay, Chris Paul, and Wiggins.
And who's trading for Klay? No, I say that he'll be a bull, right? But like, who's trading for Klay?
That is such a Chicago Bulls move.
It's such a bull.
Oh my God. Zach LaVine going to the Golden State Warriors for Klay Thompson.
Just help him out.
And Jonathan Kuminga. And
I'd be interested in Kuminga.
You'd be interested in that one?
I'd be interested in Kuminga.
What if it was?
I think Klay's contract is. I'm pretty sure. What's Klay making right now? I'm pretty sure
43.
We'd have to send something.
No, 43. That matches up.
You'd have to send Zach straight up.
Just Zach. Who would have to send stuff for that? Zach for Klay Thompson. The Bulls?
Yeah, the Bulls.
Because the contract is longer?
I believe the Bulls would have to send something else back, because Zach's 40 has not. No, Zach's making 40 this year, so we'd have to send back like Javon Carter.
A couple million.
Yeah. We'd have to send back Javon Carter. That's fine. We're trying to get rid of him anyway.
Or Torrey Craig. Just throw Torrey Craig. That makes it perfect.
No, I like Torrey Craig. I want to keep him. Let me get it. I'm trying to send Javon Carter.
Listen. We're doing spring cleaning here. We gotta get rid of stuff. Like, Do the
The
what's
Bulls
the thing?
are hoarders?
Does it give you joy? Does it give you joy? Then get rid of it. The Marie Kondo. Do the
Torrey
Marie
Craig
Kondo.
gives me joy. He came back one game and blocked Karl Anthony Towns' shot. Very crucial.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
It was nice. It was nice.
Zach LaVine for Klay Thompson. Did we cook that? Let us know in the comment section. Did we cook there, or was that terrible?
That's so gross. All we're doing is helping the Warriors get better. Like, it helps the Bulls not.
Well, the Bulls get off of all that money from Zach.
That's true. I guess if you just
want 3 years from now,
nothing. Yeah, but by that time we'll have guys making 80 million.
Don't the Warriors have don't the Warriors have a pick or something?
Yeah, I'm sure they've got stuff to send back. I think honestly, right? Like, I just look at the Warriors roster and it's just like outside of that, I don't see anything being worth moving.
You do the move for Klay, and then you've got an expiring of DeRozan and Klay, plus maybe you get off of Lonzo Ball's deal, and then all of a sudden you like clear a bunch of space. Then you could be then you could be Houston.
It clears cap. I mean, are people enamored with Billy Donovan's system that they're looking to come
Chicago,
and join it?
Have some respect for the third biggest city.
Let me tell you this right now, as somebody who's rooted for this team a long time, free agents aren't lining up at the door to come to Chicago, bro.
Yeah, but that was before the Bear came out. Like,
that's the one that put it over the top, huh? The Bear.
Yes, Chef. Yes, Chef.
We had Blues Brothers then. We had the Blues Brothers. You can't stop.
You had the Blues Brothers. You had Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now
we had Batman. You can't. The Joker was in the city.
Well, that's why they didn't want to come.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Now you want to go to the Bear restaurant? See if Carmi's still hanging out. There you go. Coming up, let's talk about the trades that have actually happened, and do they move you or not in our
Count It Up
segment? Count It Up. Coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks daily fantasy made easy. All you have to do is go to Prize Picks and you just pick the more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 players. So you go there and they've got the new Demons and Goblins. Demons and Goblins. So you know that you'll be gobbling up those winnings if you go to prizepicks.com. If you use that code LOCKEDONNBA, it's all lowercase, LOCKEDONNBA. Go check it out. See what's available for you. They've got a bunch of different stuff for the Super Bowl, so you can go check it out and see what they have. They've got, for example, one of the demon ones is Patrick Mahomes, 0.5 passing yards. Do you think he'll get more than 0.5 passing yards?
I'm gonna take the under on that.
You think he's gonna get more, 1 passing yard? I mean, if he gets hurt first play, you lose that one.
God, that'd
be pretty bad. Christian McCaffrey, 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. So I'll go more on that one too. Brock Purdy, 199.5 passing yards. I'll go more on that one too. If you do those 3, you put down $20, you win 44. Let's add one more fun one. Travis Kelce, 49.5 receiving yards. Give me more on that one. If I do 4, I put down $20, I win 50. If I put down $100, I win 250. You can go check it out at prizepicks.com. Again, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get your first deposit matched up to $100. prizepicks.com/LOCKEDONNBA. Tomorrow, the trade deadline is here. We will have clips posted from every single team that makes some kind of a move. We've already posted a couple of them for the trades that have been made. And so it is that time every single week where we talk about the most interesting and fun things in the NBA, including
Big Chicken, baby. Zion Williamson and porn star.
Take that for that. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
Pat, 3 trades have been made already in this deadline week. And I'm going to give you scale of 0 to 5. 0, nothing. Neither team, neither way. None of the players involved doesn't move me at all. I don't care about it. To 5, this is a like team shaking, player shaking move. Okay. The Utah Jazz traded Simone Fontecchio to the Detroit Pistons for a 2024 second round pick that will be like the 32nd pick in the draft.
Count it up.
How much does it move you? Scale of 0 to 5. For any team.
Cool role player. Nice guy. Yeah, man. He's cool. Give me a 2. Give me a 2. Give me a 2. Nice little role player.
It feels 1-ish to you.
Yeah, it's a 2 because it's like, while I kind of don't care. You know he's going to be one of those guys that, like, as playoff times and stuff start to roll around, eventually we
For
just
who? Hold on 1 second. You just said the word playoffs?
Yeah.
For the Pistons.
Long time. It's a long play move. It's a long play move. It sounds like a name that I don't know. No, give me a 1. I don't.
I talked him into a 1.
I tried. Like I was like, it's a long play move, maybe, right? Like somebody hits. I like how Cade's been playing. Yeah. I don't know. It's a 1. Anything to the Pistons is a 1.
This is a 3 for me because it moves me in the sense that I don't get this for the Pistons. Ku was trying to talk me into it earlier today, Locked On Pistons host, and I was like, I don't get it. He's Simone Fontecchio is like 28 years old. He's a restricted free agent. He adds like some shooting for you. He might start. There's some Pistons fans talking about he was going to start today. Yeah. But you give up the 2024 second round pick, like that's going to be the 30s. That's going to be a bonus, like almost another first. And a first that you don't have to pay like the full first round like rookie contract to. That should be more of a valuable pick on draft night. Why waste it now instead of on a player that you're going to have to maybe overpay to keep? We just talked about how none of the free agents go to Detroit. So why would he go there? He's restricted. So, you've got to match it. But why put yourself in that situation for a player that is not really going to move the needle for you that much?
Well, I think here's the problem. How many... You needed 3-point shooting, which is why they wanted Zach LaVine. This is a very, 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 very great value of adding that that kind of, and by great value I mean Walmart great value.
The Italian version.
Yeah, but Walmart great value version of adding that kind of player. And I think the tough part is that you don't want to keep just adding young pieces and just pray to God that something hits. You got to start adding some guys that have been in the NBA and are veterans and are going to be like, this is how you do this a little bit. Like,
okay, so the guy that's played 102 NBA games.
I don't know, dog. I'm trying. I'm trying to help. This is why it's a 3 for me.
The Memphis Grizzlies are trading Xavier Tillman to the Boston Celtics for 2 second-round picks.
Count it up.
How much does this move you?
This moves me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. That sounded crazy. But this one moves me a little bit because Xavier Tillman, to me, adds a little bit more depth for them. And that was the biggest question that we had. It doesn't have to be a crazy move, but just a younger body that can get on the court and play NBA level basketball. Like when I watch the Pistons, I'm just like, all right, cool. I love the starters. Love what I'm seeing. Ball movement. Who's coming in for a lot of time right now? Is that Luke Cornett? Is that put your arms down, son.
Hey, it's one of us. It's one of those. It's one of the white guys off the bench.
That's literally what I mean. So here's the move, right? So I like the trade because they got a black guy on the bench. That's where I'm going. I mean, like, it's NBA, bro. It's the NBA. I had to say the joke for Nick. Nick wanted to say the joke. It was
no, I said the white guy joke.
Yeah. He covered the white guy. I covered the black guy. Well, we're good.
It works. And then they have Jordan Walsh. And so
I guess number wise, I would say there's a 3 for me because I feel like it does add something to the Celtics that they'll need down the stretch.
Yeah, same for me. It's not all the way to a 4 or 5, but yeah, this was nice. And this gives him a different look. You can play him. You can play him with Porzingis. You can play him with Al Horford. Like you can play a bunch of different combinations. And he plays pretty tough and like physical. And they needed somebody like that. Like because Horford's not gonna be that physical because he's old. Porzingis and Cornette weren't gonna be that physical because of other reasons. And like they just needed somebody else like that. And this gives them a different look. And I like it.
What are the other reasons for Porzingis and Cornette? What are the
soft?
Oh wow. Kristaps dunked on somebody yesterday, man. Come on.
Porzingis will not back down, that's for sure. But he's not going to play physical. That's just it's a different type. It's a different style for sure. He's not backing down though. The Timberwolves sent Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., and a second-round pick to Detroit, so they recouped a second for Monty Morris.
Count it up.
How much does this move you? Timberwolves get a backup point guard. They were looking for one. They found one.
Yeah. I guess for the T-Wolves, maybe a little, like, I'll give it a 1.6. I'll give it a 1.6. Neither of these, when I saw both of these, I was just like, all right, now we're just doing stuff. Like, I feel like the Fucecchio one, like, okay, maybe some three. Like, I guess I can see the logic in adding a dude, like, whatever his name is. I can see the logic in adding a dude that can knock down the three ball, right? Like, a 39% 3-point shoot. I can see the logic in that. I saw these guys going back and forth, and I was just like, would you just want to send them to different cities? You're sick of looking at them? Like, what was the plan here? What was the point of this?
They just wanted to shake Milton it up.
I guess that was bad. That was
Monty
bad.
Morris is making $9.8 million. That came out. I did not realize how much he was making. The Pistons had to overpay to get him, and they were like waiting around for him to show up and be healthy. It could be good for the Timberwolves. It's a 1 for me. It's a 1 for me, dog, because I don't know that we don't know that he's going to be healthy. If he is, then maybe he adds a little bit to that team. He was decent on those Nuggets teams, and that's why the Pistons wanted to sign him and like bring him in as a solid backup point guard to be that kind of a vet. This same reason they're bringing in Fucecchio now, or Fucecchio. What did you call it?
What I called him? Fuccino or
Focaccio? Like
Frittata? Frittata? Well, frittata?
Yeah, this one doesn't move me that much. But we'll see. It could be a really good. It's one of those where you risk it. It could be a really good move, but the Timberwolves didn't really give up that much either.
I'm not gonna lie. All of these trades did not deserve to be on this show, but we have to cover these trades because we are not the national media that is just gonna sit here and talk about whatever's the Lakers are doing or whatever. Yeah, I mean, but none of these trades deserve to be on this show. Like, it's like, dudes moved cities. Like, I feel bad that they gotta like pick their lives up after being on the teams they've been on and like switch cities here. Because nobody even got a better city out of it.
Salt Lake City to Detroit? Probably not. Memphis to Boston? Okay, Minneapolis to Detroit. That feels.
Yeah.
Which one's Minneapolis? Maybe better.
I guess the Boston one's best because never mind. I was about to be a poor joke. I guess the Boston one's best.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I just watch yourself, Xavier. That's all I'm gonna say. You're taking minutes from the preferred guys off of the bench. Just be careful. Just be careful.
Listen, we can play basketball too.
You're 6'5". I can't wait to see you shoot a jump shot, Nick.
Oh, I didn't say I could.
Nah, I feel like none of these trades are anything. They're guys, their bodies go in the other direction.
Okay. There you go. For more bodies going to other directions, we'll be back tomorrow with a bonus Locked On NBA. We'll talk about trades. We'll do an episode for that, and then we'll do an episode for the games as well. We'll talk about the games that happened after the fact with it'll be with Tony East and Wes Goldberg. So there you go, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye.
Boom. Just bodies trading cities.
Bodies. That's a show you definitely don't get the reference to.